Hello everyone and welcome back. So one of the most frequent lore-based questions I get about Rainbow Six Siege is why are the attackers fighting the defenders? Who are the good guys, the attackers or the defenders? How are they shooting each other without hurting them? And believe it or not, there's actually lore behind this, and we actually do get an explanation of why they actually are fighting each other, how they actually are shooting each other but not dying, and basically why they are fighting each other on two different teams. Now I just want to quickly say we are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, so if this is your first time viewing my channel and you do go on to enjoy this video, be sure to drop it a like and consider subscribing. So let's start with the first question and tackle that one. Why is there attackers and why are there defenders and who are the good guys? So of course in Rainbow Six Siege you are playing as operators fighting an enemy team which has other operators on them, so it is valid to ask which one is the good guys? Why are we fighting those people? Why are they defending a bomb site? And in games like CSGO there is actually a good side and a bad side because you will have terrorists and then the other team you'll have the people trying to stop the terrorists, so it's pretty clear who the good people are in that game. But in Siege we have people from the SAS on attack, but you also have people from the SAS on defense. So to answer the question, who are the good guys? Every operator on attack and defense are the good guys. In the lore of Rainbow Six Siege, they are all part of one massive team known as Team Rainbow. When we are playing the matches and fighting in the game, we are actually just doing a training exercise of these operators fighting against each other. When defenders are actually defending a bomb site, they're not defending a real bomb, it's a fake bomb. A lot of stuff is exaggerated for gameplay reasons, that's why there's blood coming out of operators when you actually shoot them. In the lore, there's no blood coming out of them, and we'll get into that in a minute of how they're actually shooting each other and how people are taking damage. And as well as this also explains how operators from like Nighthaven are also still in these training simulations, even though they're part of Nighthaven, which is no longer part of Team Rainbow. It's purely just gameplay thing. There's a certain extent where lore and gameplay just simply do not work together, so you just have to overlook it for gameplay reasons. But in the lore itself, they are all one big team known as Team Rainbow. I think that's kind of the same in Overwatch as well. In that lore, they are all known as a team called Overwatch. However, in the game, you do fight each other. But yeah, that is why attackers and defenders fight each other in Rainbow Six Siege. They are training and they are actually not enemies. So the next question is, how do the operators take damage? How do they die? How do they get eliminated from the match? And of course, in the lore, they don't actually die when you shoot them. However, they do get eliminated from the match and they do actually take some damage. And we actually know this from a little note from Mira to Harry when he was still alive, rest in peace. And this is actually kind of around the time when we got that first invitational cinematic as well. And it actually explains how the operators take damage, what they're actually shooting with, and how they know when they're eliminated. So this document says, each operator will be wearing a sim suit that has been developed by R6 Labs. It is their first layer of clothing worn beneath all their combat gear. The sim suit provides a real-time telemetry of all contact the operator receives and calculates in simulated damage, providing near instantaneous feedback. Once simulated damage has reached or exceeded its limit, operators must remain immobile. They will then be alerted when all other operators have cleared their vicinity, exiting the map and heading off to their respective sidelines. Naturally, all headshots are instant kill. It is important to note that the sim suit provides no protection to the operator. The simulation rounds and explosives used during the tournament are non-lethal and when contacting an operator, detonate as white smoke. However, they are still ballistic, high energy projectiles, they will hurt, and depending on the point of contact, they will hurt a lot. Finally, while this system allows the operators to absorb more damage than real-world combat, the software lethality will demand more from them. They will have to work harder for their quote-unquote kills. And that was a note from Mira to Harry. And what this note actually tells us is a lot of stuff which helps explain this lore behind Rainbow Six Siege and how the operators train and fight. So firstly, the major thing is that they are wearing something known as a sim suit, which is actually underneath all their gear. I know you have skins like Tachanka's elite skin where he's shirtless and you can clearly see that he has no suit on. Once again, it's just one of those things you gotta look over when you're going from gameplay and lore. And that's actually how they track the damage of the operators, and then when it reaches a certain point, that operator must just stop moving and pretend to be dead. And then when everyone else leaves the room, they exit the map and go wait at the sidelines until the round is over. That explains how the operators know when they are now quote-unquote dead. Another thing as well is that the fact that the operators are actually shooting simulated rounds and explosives which detonate as white smoke, showing where they have been shot. For example, you can see it on Kaze's face after she actually got shot in the head. And you can see that it does hurt. Mira did say, although they are non-lethal, it will still hurt. You are still getting hit by a pellet. And as well as this system allows the operators to absorb more damage than a real-life combat scenario, which explains how in Rainbow Six Siege you can shoot someone in the chest, for example, and they won't die. You have to shoot them a certain amount of times before they will at least be injured or killed. And honestly, this note just explains so much. So if we're looking at this as an overall thing now, attackers and defenders are all part of one team known as Team Rainbow. When we were actually playing, that is actually one of their training simulations, and they actually aren't killing each other, rather they are shooting out blank pellets which emit white smoke, and operators are wearing a sim suit underneath all their gear, and it will indicate when that operator is eliminated, and once the room is clear, they will exit the map. And the thing things that the operators do partake in outside of these trading matches still do happen in the lore. For example, we recently just looked at one where it was Operation Sunset R&D, and we saw the ghosteyes squad in action, and of course, the operators on that task consisted of both attackers and defenders. One of the biggest examples of actually seeing these operators working as a team where it isn't attack and defense and them on an actual mission is Rainbow Six Extraction. Now, although Rainbow Six Extraction doesn't take place in the Rainbow Six Siege timeline, it's sort of like a spin-off what-if alternate universe with aliens, it does actually show us Team Rainbow working as a team because you can play in a squad that has Jaeger, who is a defender, you can have Sledge, who's an attacker, and you can have Tachanka, who is another defender. And although they kind of have already killed off Rainbow Six Extraction already, hopefully if we do get like another Rainbow Six game, we can actually get to see more of these operators interacting, because it's really cool to see a lot of attacking and defending operators working together, because it's just something you don't really see in the main game itself. It's quite cool that they have actually managed to give an in-universe explanation of the gameplay we are actually playing. Now, like I said, when you shoot an operator in the game, blood does come out of them, it does look like they die. Of course, these are just things you have to overlook. They are there for the gameplay aesthetic of a first-person shooter. Of course, stuff as well, such as cosmetics, headgears, and uniforms aren't canon either. They're just wearing their default gear when they are actually training. And when it comes to stuff such as the bomb, it's safe to say that it is a non-lethal gas coming out of the bomb when you fail to successfully defuse it. And one of the things we were talking about there as well is the fact that nighthaven operators are still obviously playable in the game. And again, that is just one of those things you have to overlook. Lore is kept separate from gameplay itself, although they do have things that overlap. It doesn't really make sense to balance based off of lore. And of course, removing every nighthaven operator from the game just because they left in the lore doesn't make much sense. Because there are players who don't care about lore and they just want to play for the gameplay. And it makes sense for the devs as well. The balancing team, the development team can do what they want, whereas the lore team on the other hand don't have to work around what the gameplay devs are doing and vice versa. They can still do their own thing, however with the stuff still being linked. However, there are some lore aspects that were in gameplay as well which has since been removed or were used for balancing or at least an argument for it. For example, Zofia had the withstand ability. In her lore, she's very resilient. When she was younger, 3 boys tried to drown her and stuff like that, so it sort of showed that she was resilient and could put up a fight and would fight another day, so that's why she had the withstand ability. Of course, that has been since removed. And you had other cases as well where they wanted to make Smoke get affected by his own smoke grenades, and a lot of people were like, well, that doesn't make sense. He wears a gas mask, you know, he walks through gas, that is his entire character trait. And you also have more minor things as well. When you're Ella and kill Zofia, or you're Zofia and kill Ella, you get some extra points known as sister rivalry, and that is because in the lore, Ella and Zofia are sisters, so when you take each other out in game, you get some extra points for that. So anyway guys, I hope this video helped address the entire lore and gameplay aspect of Rainbow Six Siege and how they kind of are linked, and the in-universe explanation for what we're actually playing. If you guys would like to learn more about Rainbow Six Siege lore, then be sure to check out my channel and consider subscribing for more Rainbow Six Siege lore videos. Sure, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, drop a like on this video and subscribe if you're new. I shall catch you all later. I love you all. Peace.